Most people spend their whole lives working for money and never stop to ask if money could be working for them. They chase paychecks like a mirage in the desert, always just out of reach. But the rich, they build wells. They don't chase the water, they own the source. You see, wealth isn't built in the hours you trade. It's built in the assets you create, quietly, steadily, while you sleep. But here's the tragedy. Most people are busy surviving when they should be busy building. They spend today's energy solving yesterday's problems instead of planting tomorrow's seeds. And the reason is simple. Nobody ever taught them to think like owners. They were trained to earn, not to build. To work for wages, not for wealth. But tonight, I want to offer you a different philosophy. Because the day you stop working just for money and start building something that earns while you rest, that's the day you begin to experience freedom. Not the freedom of a weekend, but the freedom of a lifetime. So, let's talk about how the rich build their world. Not through luck, not through magic, but through habits, assets, and philosophy. Because if you can learn to think like them, you won't have to chase money again. Money will come looking for you. You know, one of the greatest shifts you can ever make in your life is when you stop working just for money and start letting money work for you. Most people spend their whole lives trading hours for dollars. They go to work, they get a paycheck, they spend it, and then they start all over again. It's a cycle that keeps them busy, but not necessarily wealthy. See, wages will make you a living, and that's fine, that's honorable. But profits, ownership, and investment, those will make you a fortune. And fortune is not just about money, it's about freedom. It's about having choices, having time, having peace. When I was a young man, I thought if I just worked harder, I'd get ahead. So I worked days, nights, weekends. Hard work was never the problem. But one day, my mentor sat me down and said, "You can work as hard as you want, but if you never learn to make money work for you, you'll always be tired." That hit me like a thunderbolt. I realized I was busy working for money that was never going to take a shift for me. I started asking, what can I own that earns for me? That's the question that changes everything. You see, money has one of two directions. It either works for you or it works for someone else. The bank uses your money to make profits. The business owner uses your effort to build equity. The investor uses your spending to earn returns. The rich understand this dynamic very well. They don't just spend money, they assign it a job. Every dollar has a task. Every penny has a purpose. They treat money like employees, sending them out into the marketplace to bring back more. The poor, on the other hand, spend their money emotionally, giving it away without a plan, and then they wonder why they can't seem to get ahead. Now, here's the good news. You don't have to start with millions. You can start with $50 a month. You can start with saving a small portion of every paycheck and putting it into something that grows while you sleep. Stocks, a piece of real estate, a side business, or even a skill that increases your value. What matters most is the habit of ownership, because ownership builds freedom. I remember when I bought my first small piece of property. It wasn't much, but the moment the rent check came in without me lifting a finger, I understood the magic of leverage. That feeling that my money had just worked a day without me, that's when I realized true wealth isn't built in sweat alone. It's built in strategy. So the next time you spend $1, ask yourself, is this expense feeding me or freeing me? If it's feeding you temporarily, it's gone tomorrow. But if it's freeing you, if it's buying you time, growth, or ownership, then you're building your future. The day you stop living off wages and start living off profits, that's the day your journey toward freedom truly begins. You know, most people believe wealth is something you stumble upon, a lucky break, a sudden opportunity, a big win. But real wealth, the kind that lasts, is never bought. It's built. It's not a lottery ticket. It's a construction project. It's built day by day, habit by habit, decision by decision. The rich understand this truth deeply, that wealth is a process, not an event. They know that success is not a surprise. It's a sequence. See, we live in a world that celebrates the event, the big house, the fancy car, the spotlight moment. People love to applaud the result, but they ignore the years of discipline, the nights of study, the risks taken when no one was watching. The poor see the final picture. The rich see the brushstrokes. And those brushstrokes are patience, consistency, and vision. The rich aren't chasing shiny things. They're planting seeds. They know if they stay focused, the tree will grow. I learned this lesson early in life. I used to look at successful people and wonder, what are they doing that I'm not? Then I realized they were builders, not buyers. They were accumulating assets, not just money, but skills, relationships, ideas, and systems that paid them again and again. One man builds a business, another spends his whole life buying what that business produces. One builds an apartment, another rents it forever. The difference isn't luck, it's mindset. The asset mindset is about thinking like a creator, not a consumer. Every dollar you spend can either build or burn. Every hour of your day can either multiply or evaporate. The wealthy use their time to create value, to build something that lives beyond the hour they worked. The rest use their time to escape, to be entertained, to feel good for a moment, and then wonder why they can't seem to move forward. Now, let's get practical. If you want to build wealth, spend less on consumption and more on creation. Don't buy another gadget just because it's new. Invest in something that makes you new. Develop one skill that earns you money independently of your job. Maybe it's writing, design, sales, or teaching. That skill can become a stream of income, and that stream can turn into a river. Every empire begins with one brick, and every fortune begins with one skill. And here's a powerful habit. Track your net worth monthly. Don't measure your success by your income. Measure it by your growth. Your net worth tells you if your efforts are building something real or just feeding your lifestyle. When you start seeing that number grow, even slowly, it'll change how you think about money. Because you'll see the truth, wealth isn't about how much you make, it's about how much you keep and grow. So remember this, wealth is not a destination you arrive at one day. It's a road you build, one brick at a time. Don't chase the sparkle, build the substance. Because the day you stop buying your comfort and start building your value, that's the day you step into real freedom. You know, for years I watched good people work themselves to exhaustion trying to stand tall on one financial leg, their job. And every time life brought a storm, an illness, a layoff, a change in the market, that single leg started to wobble. Some even fell completely. You can't build stability on one leg. You need a table with multiple legs, because when one leg falters, the others keep you standing. That's the philosophy behind creating multiple streams of income. One source is dangerous. The world has changed. Decades ago, you could rely on one paycheck for 30 years, retire, and be safe. Not anymore. Inflation eats at your savings, automation replaces your job, and unexpected events can shift everything overnight. If your whole life depends on a single stream of income, you're living on the edge of risk, not security. That's not wealth, that's financial fragility. The wealthy know this. They build layers of protection, not through fear, but through foresight. I learned this lesson the hard way. In my early years, I had one source of income, and I thought I was secure. But when that source slowed down, so did my life. Bills didn't stop, but my cash flow did. It taught me something I never forgot. Never stand on one leg when you can stand on four. The rich understand that true freedom comes from having options. When one door closes, they've already built 3 more. Now, what does this look like in practice? Start with one additional stream. Maybe it's a small freelance gig after work. Maybe it's a digital product that sells while you sleep, or a small business that grows slowly on weekends. Don't wait until you have the perfect plan. Just begin. Momentum creates clarity. Each small stream you add, no matter how modest at first, builds strength under your financial table. Then, once the money starts to flow, automate your savings and investments. Treat every income stream as an employee in your financial team, and make sure each one contributes to your future. Don't let the money pass through your hands without giving it a job. Whether it's 5% or 50%, automate it. Let the system work, even when you don't feel like it. That's how wealth is quietly built, not in bursts, but in systems. And if you haven't already, study the basics of investing. Learn how compound growth works. It's the silent employee that never sleeps, never complains, and never takes weekends off. Every dollar you invest today becomes a worker that brings home more dollars tomorrow. The earlier you hire those workers, the larger your financial army becomes. So ask yourself, how many legs does your table stand on? If it's just one, start building another today. Don't wait for the perfect opportunity. Create it. Because the moment you add that second stream, you shift from surviving to building, from being dependent to being in control. And that, my friends, is the beginning of freedom. When your money works in more places than you do. You know, most people make the same mistake with their money. They pay everyone else first and themselves last. The landlord, the grocery store, the credit card company, the tax man. Everyone gets a piece of their paycheck before they do, and then they wonder why, at the end of the month, there's nothing left. Let me tell you something I learned early. If you don't make yourself your first bill, you'll never have a future worth paying for. Paying yourself first isn't selfish, it's smart. It's a declaration that your future matters just as much as your present. When I first started earning, I thought I'd save what was left at the end of the month, but there was never anything left. The bills expanded to fit the income. I discovered that saving doesn't happen by accident. It happens by intention. The rich understand this. They don't wait to see if there's money left over. They decide ahead of time how much of their income belongs to the future. This is a philosophy rooted in respect. Respect for your own time, your own labor, and your own dreams. Every dollar you save is proof that you value your future more than your impulse. The poor pay for comfort. The rich pay for freedom. The poor say, I'll save when I have more. The rich say, I'll have more because I save. That's the difference in mindset. One hopes, the other plans. The strategy is simple. Make saving automatic, not emotional. When you get paid, the first transaction should be from you to your future. Not after rent, not after groceries. First, treat it as a bill you can't afford to miss. Save at least 10 to 20% of your income before you touch a single expense. And if you can't do 10% right now, start with 1. The habit matters more than the amount. Because once the habit is in place, the percentage can grow naturally. Technology makes it easier than ever. Set up automatic transfers to your savings or investment accounts the same day you get paid. Don't trust your willpower. Build a system. When money never lands in your checking account, you'll never be tempted to spend it. Automation turns discipline into default. Before long, you won't even miss what's been saved, but you'll certainly appreciate what it grows into. Each month, take time to review your progress. Don't judge the results by how much you've accumulated. Reward yourself for consistency. The outcome will take care of itself if the habit is strong. Saving is like exercise. The magic is in showing up, not in seeing instant results. Celebrate each month you stay consistent, because that consistency is building your financial muscle. I'll tell you this, the day I started paying myself first, my relationship with money changed. I stopped chasing it and started commanding it. My money began serving me, not the other way around. And that's the shift that transforms ordinary earners into extraordinary builders. So the next time you sit down to pay your bills, remember this: before you pay the world, pay yourself. Because your future deserves the first dollar, not the leftover one. You know, one of the greatest lessons I ever learned was this: formal education might make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. The classroom can teach you how to survive, but only you can teach yourself how to thrive. Most people stop learning the moment they leave school, and that's where their growth stops too. The truth is, wealth doesn't start in your wallet, it starts in your mind. You must learn how money works, or you'll spend your life working for those who already do. I remember in my early years, I thought hard work alone was the secret to success. I'd show up early, stay late, do everything right, and yet I still couldn't figure out why others were moving ahead while I stayed stuck. Then I realized something powerful. It wasn't that they were working harder, they were thinking smarter. They were students of success. They studied money, business, psychology, leadership, and investing. They treated personal development like a second career. You see, most people are educated on how to earn money, but not how to multiply it. They know how to trade time for dollars, but they never learn how to make dollars trade for them. That's the difference between a worker and a builder. The wealthy understand the rules of the game, and if you don't, you're just a player in someone else's plan. The best investments you'll ever make isn't in the stock market or real estate or business. It's in your own mind. Because a wise mind can lose money and make it back again, but a poor mind can lose everything and never recover. So what's the strategy? Become a lifelong student of wealth. Study financial principles, how saving, investing, and compounding actually work. Study the psychology of money, why people buy, why they save, and why they spend. Study business, how to create value, how to solve problems, how to scale ideas. The more you learn, the more valuable you become. Remember, the marketplace pays for value, and value is created through knowledge, not luck. Here's something simple yet life-changing. Read 10 pages of a good book on wealth or finance every day. It may not sound like much, but that's over 3,000 pages a year, the equivalent of 10 to 15 books. That kind of input will reshape your thinking, and when your thinking changes, your results follow. Replace just 30 minutes of entertainment each day, one episode, one scroll session, with learning something that can make you rich in knowledge. You'll be amazed how quickly your perspective shifts. And never underestimate the power of observation. Study people who have already built wealth, because success always leaves clues. Watch how they spend their time, how they make decisions, how they handle risk. Learn from their wins, and even more from their mistakes. You don't have to reinvent success, you just have to model it. The truth is, your income will rarely exceed your level of education, not formal education, but self-education. So feed your mind daily. Guard it from junk thinking the way you guard your wallet from thieves. Because the moment you start learning what the wealthy know, you start walking the same path they walk. Wealth doesn't come to those who wish for it, it comes to those who prepare for it. You know, there's a truth about wealth that most people never discover until it's too late. You can't get rich alone. Real wealth isn't just what you accumulate, it's what you contribute. You can fill your pockets, but if you never fill another person's life, your wealth will always feel empty. Money, at its best, is not a measure of accumulation, it's a reflection of contribution. The richest lives are the ones that have learned to give, to teach, to build something that outlives them. I remember in my early years, I was focused on making money for myself, and I did, but it was shallow. I had the stuff, the numbers, the comfort, yet something was missing. I realized I had built income, but not impact. The turning point came when I started teaching others what I'd learned. Young entrepreneurs, friends, struggling with money, people who reminded me of who I once was. And that's when something magical happened. The more I gave, the more I grew. The more I shared, the more I understood. Teaching didn't just help them, it multiplied me. See, wealth is a lot like a river. When it flows freely, it nourishes everything it touches. But when you try to dam it up and keep it all for yourself, it begins to stagnate. Giving doesn't reduce what you have, it multiplies it. Because contribution connects you to people, and people are the true source of wealth. When you serve others, when you solve their problems, when you create value that improves lives, the marketplace rewards you tenfold. It's a universal law. Give, and it shall be given unto you. The strategy is simple. Teach what you learn. Don't keep your knowledge locked up. If you've learned how to save, how to invest, how to manage your money, pass it on. You'll deepen your own understanding in the process. Mentoring one person on financial principles might seem small, but the ripple effect can be enormous. That one person could go on to teach 10 more, and those 10 100. Legacy is not about leaving money, it's about leaving wisdom. And don't stop at teaching, give with intention. Take a portion of your income, even a small one, and direct it toward causes that matter to you. Giving trains your heart to stay grateful. It reminds you that you're not just building wealth for yourself, but for a bigger purpose. Whether it's helping a struggling student, supporting a community project, or funding a dream, every act of generosity keeps your wealth alive with meaning. Finally, build something that serves others, a product, a service, an idea, or a teaching. Build something that solves problems, something that adds value long after you're gone. That's how you turn success into significance. Because in the end, wealth that dies with you was never truly wealth, it was just money. The goal is not to die rich, but to live rich in purpose, in contribution, and in impact. The ultimate reward of building wealth isn't the comfort it buys, but the legacy it leaves. The day you stop asking, "What can I get?" and start asking, "What can I give?" that's the day you truly step into abundance. You know, everyone wants to get rich quick. They want the success story without the chapters of struggle. But here's the truth. Wealth doesn't come overnight. It comes over time. It's not a sprint. It's a long, steady marathon. You don't plant a seed today and expect to harvest tomorrow. You plant, you water, you nurture, and in time, the harvest comes. But most people never see the harvest because they quit in the season of planting. They trade patience for pleasure and lose the prize that only time can deliver. When I started out, I wanted results fast. I thought if I worked hard enough, success would come instantly. But life doesn't work that way, and neither does wealth. The truth is, time is one of the most powerful tools you'll ever have if you know how to use it. The wealthy understand that real freedom grows slowly, steadily, predictably. It's not about getting rich this weekend. It's about being financially free 10 years from now because of what you started today. The philosophy is simple. Stay patient. Time rewards discipline. Every dollar saved, every investment made, every book read, it all compounds. The mistake most people make is they overestimate what they can do in a month and underestimate what they can do in a decade. They want instant gratification, the fast car, the shiny house, the weekend thrill. But wealth builders, they play the long game. They plant now, knowing the fruit will come later. The strategy is to build systems and habits that stand the test of time. Set clear financial goals, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. Write them down, review them often. Adjust your methods if you must, but never your principles. You see, principles are timeless. Discipline, consistency, patience, value creation, they work whether it's 1,975 or 2,025. The tools may change, but the fundamentals never do. In my own life, I remember saving small amounts that seemed insignificant at first, but I stayed consistent. I invested month after month, even when the returns were slow. And years later, I looked back and realized those small habits had built something extraordinary. That's how the game works. The wealth you want tomorrow depends on the patience you practice today. And along the way, celebrate the small wins. Reward yourself for consistency, not just outcomes. Bought your first stock? Great. Paid off a credit card? Fantastic. But remember, those are steps, not the summit. Keep your eyes on the horizon, on long-term independence. The marketplace loves consistency. The world rewards the one who stays, not the one who starts and stops. Because in the end, the slow, steady climb beats the reckless sprint every time. So be patient with your growth, trust the process, and keep planting seeds. The harvest always comes, maybe not when you expect it, but always right on time. Let me tell you something simple, yet life-changing. Don't eat all your seeds. Most people do. They work hard, earn their paycheck, and before the ink dries, it's gone, spent on bills, comforts, and fleeting pleasures. And they wonder why nothing grows. You see, every dollar you earn is a seed, and seeds aren't meant to be eaten, they're meant to be planted. The difference between the broke and the wealthy isn't in how much they earn, it's in what they do with what they earn. When I first started working, I had the same mindset everyone else had. I thought money was for spending. Then one day, my mentor said to me, "You're working for your money, but when will your money start working for you?" That question hit me hard. It changed the way I saw every paycheck. From that moment on, I stopped being just a consumer and started being an investor. I began to see my income not as something to spend, but as something to grow. The philosophy is this: turn your income into capital. Capital is money that works even when you're not. Most people labor for wages all their lives, but the wealthy let their money labor for them. Wages make you a living. Capital builds you a fortune. The key is to take a portion of what you earn and put it to work in places where it can multiply. Businesses, real estate, investments, or even in your own education. That's how wealth begins to build, quietly, steadily, without you chasing it. The strategy is straightforward but requires discipline. Divide your income with intention. 50% goes to needs, your living expenses, your obligations. 20% goes to savings, your safety net for the unexpected. Another 20% goes to investments, the seeds that will grow into your orchard of wealth. And the final 10% goes to giving. Why giving? Because contribution keeps you grounded. It reminds you that money is a tool, not a master, and that true wealth is about adding value to the world. And here's a crucial point. Reinvest your profits before you reward yourself. Most people make a little extra and immediately raise their lifestyle, new clothes, a fancier car, a bigger house. But that's how the cycle of mediocrity continues. The wealthy delay gratification. They let their capital mature. They let their money work, multiply, and compound until the profits from their investments can fund their lifestyle. In my early years, I took a small portion of my earnings and bought books. Those books taught me how to invest. Then I invested small amounts in business ventures. Some failed, some succeeded, but every lesson became a building block. Over time, the profits from those seeds began producing more than my job ever could. That's the beauty of capital. It gives you freedom, options, and peace of mind. So here's the question you must ask yourself. Are you consuming your seeds or are you planting them? Because the person who spends it all will always start over, but the one who plants will one day sit in the shade of their own financial garden. Start today, no matter how small. And soon, your money won't just represent your labor, it will represent your wisdom. You know, everyone wants to be excited about success. They want fireworks, quick results, and grand moments that make them feel powerful. But the truth is, wealth isn't built in moments of excitement. It's built in moments of quiet consistency. It's not the loud, flashy moves that make you rich. It's the simple disciplines, repeated daily, that create lasting change. Success doesn't shout, it whispers. And those who listen to those whispers every day, through small, deliberate actions, are the ones who end up living the life everyone else only dreams about. When I look back, I realize that the biggest difference between the people who stay broke and the people who build wealth isn't talent, luck, or even opportunity. It's habits. The poor chase hype. They wait for the next big thing, the lucky break, the miracle idea that will change everything overnight. But the wealthy, they understand that real success comes from doing the small, sometimes boring things day after day without fail. It's not glamorous, but it's powerful. You don't get fit by going to the gym once. You get fit by going regularly. You don't build wealth by investing once. You do it consistently, quietly, for years. The philosophy is simple. Build habits, not hype. Excitement fades, discipline compounds. The daily routines you commit to will build your future far more reliably than any burst of enthusiasm. The problem is, most people live by emotion. If they feel good, they act. If they don't, they stop. But emotions are temporary. Principles are permanent. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It just demands that you show up. And when you do, day after day, the results start to appear almost magically. Here's the strategy. Structure your habits so they serve your financial goals automatically. Schedule what I call your wealth hours every week. Sit down, review your finances, read something that expands your understanding, plan the next step in your journey, make it a sacred appointment with your future. Then, automate everything you can. Your savings, your investments, your debt repayments. Automation removes emotion from the process. It ensures that your discipline continues even when motivation doesn't. And remember, track your progress monthly, not daily. Most people quit because they look too closely at short-term results. They get impatient when the numbers don't move fast enough. But wealth doesn't grow in noise. It grows in silence. It's like watching a tree. You don't see it grow day by day, But come back in a few seasons, and you'll be amazed at its progress. When I began practicing these habits, I didn't see results right away either. But I trusted the process. I reviewed my goals weekly, adjusted my spending, kept investing, kept learning. Months passed quietly, and then suddenly everything started to shift. The results weren't sudden, they were cumulative. That's the beauty of habits. They sneak up on you with success. So don't wait for the next wave of excitement. Build your own wave. One small, steady action at a time. Because hype fades, but habits build empires. If there's one thing I wish I could teach every young person, or remind every older one, it's this: time is more valuable than money. You can lose money and earn it back. You can waste an opportunity and create another, but once you spend time, it's gone forever. That's why the wealthy don't just think about money, they think about time. Because time, when respected, becomes the greatest multiplier of wealth there is. The tragedy is that most people treat time as if it's endless and money as if it's scarce, when in truth, it's the other way around. When I was young, I thought I had all the time in the world. I figured I'd start saving later, investing later, building later. But later has a way of turning into never. Then one day, I learned something that changed my life: the concept of compound growth. I realized that wealth doesn't grow in great leaps. It grows in quiet, steady increments that expand exponentially over time. A small amount, consistently invested, becomes something extraordinary if you give it enough years. That's when I understood it wasn't just about how much I earned, it was about when I started. Here's the philosophy: respect time as your greatest asset. Every dollar you save today has decades to grow. Every year you delay, you lose not just a year of saving, but the compounding power of that year multiplied over the rest of your life. That's why those who start early, even with small amounts, often surpass those who start late with large ones. Time rewards the consistent, not the clever. The strategy is simple. Start now and stay steady. Don't wait for the perfect time, the perfect plan, or the perfect amount. The perfect time was yesterday. The second best time is right now. Even $10 invested today is infinitely better than nothing invested tomorrow. You see, it's not about the size of your contribution, but the habit of contribution. Consistency beats intensity every time. Because when you invest regularly, whether in money, skill, or relationships, time amplifies your effort. One of the best ways to honor time is to automate your discipline. Set up automatic transfers to your savings or investment accounts. Remove the emotion, remove the hesitation, let the system work for you. Once that money leaves your checking account and starts working somewhere else, you've made time your business partner. It will quietly multiply your patience into prosperity. And remember this: time not only compounds money, it compounds wisdom. Every book you read, every lesson you apply, every year you stay consistent adds layers of understanding that others can't buy. Wealth isn't just what you earn, it's who you become while earning it. So start today. Don't wait for the right moment, create it. Let time be your silent ally, not your forgotten enemy. Because one day, when you look back, you'll realize the people who built real wealth weren't the smartest or the luckiest. They were the ones who respected time enough to start early, stay patient, and let the quiet miracle of compounding do its work. They say birds of a feather flock together, and that's not just a saying, it's a law of life. You see, success doesn't happen in isolation, and neither does failure. The people around you are like mirrors. They reflect your future. Spend enough time with spenders and you'll start spending. Spend enough time with builders and you'll start building. You can't soar like an eagle if you keep scratching the ground with chickens. The truth is simple. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you want to know your financial future, just look at your circle. That's where you're headed. In my early years, I was surrounded by good people, kind people, but broke people. They talked about problems, not possibilities. They complained about the system, but never studied it. And I realized one day that if I stayed there, I'd become one of them. It wasn't that I was better than them. I just wanted something different. I wanted to grow, to build, to live with purpose. So I changed my environment. I started seeking out people who were doing better than me, people who challenged me, who thought in decades, not days. It was uncomfortable at first because being around growth-minded people exposes your excuses. But it also expands your vision. That's the philosophy. Associate with builders, not spenders. Wealth isn't contagious, but mindset is. The right environment feeds your belief system. It normalizes discipline, ambition, and smart financial behavior. Spend time with those who discuss investments, ideas, and opportunities, and soon your own thinking begins to align. You start asking better questions, making better decisions. You start thinking like a producer instead of a consumer. Here's the strategy. Audit your circle. Take a good, honest look at the people you spend time with. Are they pushing you forward or holding you still? Do they talk about wealth creation or about who just bought a new car? If you're constantly surrounded by chronic consumers, those who live for appearances and instant gratification, it's time to create some distance. Not out of arrogance, but out of alignment, because proximity is power. When you sit at the table with dreamers, doers, and disciplined minds, you can't help but rise. Join communities that speak the language of growth. Attend seminars, masterminds, networking events where wealth isn't just about money, but about mindset and purpose. Seek out mentors who've walked the path you wish to take. They'll teach you more through one honest conversation than 100 books ever could. When I began spending time with builders, everything changed, not overnight, but gradually. My thoughts elevated, my habits strengthened, and my results multiplied. I started realizing that wealth isn't just built with effort, it's built with environment. So choose your circle wisely, because if you walk with spenders, you'll spend your potential away. But if you walk with builders, you'll build your future, brick by brick, habit by habit, idea by idea, until one day, you look around and realize you've become one of them. There comes a time in every person's life when you start to realize that the purpose of wealth isn't just comfort, it's continuation. You see, a lifestyle fades, but a legacy endures. The car you buy today will rust, the clothes will fade, and the house will one day belong to someone else. But the values you pass on, the wisdom you teach, the people you impact, those are eternal. The ultimate reason for becoming wealthy is not just to live well, but to have something valuable to give. True wealth isn't measured in possessions, it's measured in permanence. I remember a man once telling me, "You can't take it with you." And I told him, "No, but you can leave enough behind to make sure it keeps working long after you're gone." That's the philosophy. Don't just build a lifestyle, build a legacy. A lifestyle feeds your present, a legacy feeds the future. A lifestyle is about what you get. A legacy is about what you give. Most people spend their lives chasing comfort, while the wise spend their lives creating contribution. The strategy is simple but profound. Plan for generational impact. You're not just living your story, you're writing a manual for the next generation. Every choice you make today, echoes into tomorrow. If your children or those who follow you can learn from your discipline, your principles, and your courage, you've already multiplied your wealth beyond any bank account. That's why I tell people, don't just leave money behind, leave mindset behind. Wealth without wisdom becomes a burden, but wisdom with wealth becomes a blessing. Write down your financial principles. Put your philosophy on paper. Let your children and those you mentor understand how you built what you built, not just what you built. Teach them about patience, about saving before spending, about giving before receiving. Pass on your story, because stories inspire action long after the storyteller is gone. Create or support something that outlives you, a cause, a scholarship, a foundation, a business that serves people beyond your reach. Wealth becomes powerful when it moves beyond consumption and turns into contribution. Maybe it's mentoring a young person who reminds you of yourself. Maybe it's funding a small school or helping a struggling entrepreneur get started. You don't have to be a millionaire to leave a mark. You just need a heart that believes in multiplying what's been given to you. Use your success to lift others. Success that ends with you dies with you, but success that lifts others becomes immortal. I've seen people chase luxuries that disappear, while others quietly build legacies that last generations. One group lives for applause, the other lives for impact. So as you build wealth, remember, the goal isn't just to live better, it's to leave better. Your money can buy comfort, but your legacy builds character. And when you're gone, no one will remember the things you owned, they'll remember the lives you changed. That's when you'll know you didn't just build a lifestyle, you built a legacy. So here's my final thought. Wealth isn't a miracle, it's a method. It's built one choice, one habit, one disciplined day at a time. Don't wait for luck or timing. Build your own foundation of value, patience, and contribution. Start today, even with a small step. Pay yourself first, invest in your mind, create something that serves others, and protect your time like treasure. Because the moment you decide to act, your future begins to shift. Don't just wish for freedom, build it. The world doesn't need another dreamer, it needs another builder. So go and start building yours today.